Heaven is real, and I know because I've been there. My name is Dakota Lee. I'm an animal communicator. I've got a gift to see in the spirit, and I've been visiting heaven since I was 12 years old. The good news for me is I didn't have to die or nearly die to get to see what happens to us when we actually die. I've got a gift. I've got a couple, although I'll talk about talking to animals in other videos. But today I wanted to talk about heaven. I started seeing visions from God when I was just 4 years old. I started seeing angels when I was 8, saw Jesus for the first time when I was 10, and I got to start visiting heaven when I was 12. I'm planning to share my experiences. So imagine little me. I'm 12 years old. I'm going to youth camp. I'm excited. I'm already really excited about Jesus. I was in a youth service, which is like a worship service, lots of music. And I was doing my normal thing when I felt God tell me to open my eyes. So I did. And I opened my physical eyes. I had my spiritual eyes open as well. And I looked up. And Jesus was hovering right above me. He was hovering over all the kids' heads, but he was looking at me. And he held down his hand to me like this. And he asked, "You ready?" I had no idea what for, but it's Jesus. So I said, "Yes." And I physically held my hand up to meet him spiritually, and we grabbed each other's wrists like this. And from that, Jesus pulled me out of my body. I didn't collapse physically, but I wasn't seeing anymore from my physical eyes. I was seeing from my spirit. And I held on to Jesus' wrist, and Jesus and I started floating up above all the other kids. Our backs hit the ceiling like we were a couple of balloons. And I looked down and I could still see myself, hands still raised. I could see the stage, I could see all of my friends, but I was way above them. And I took it in for a moment. It was really something. Talk about out-of-body experience. And then Jesus turned over and he looked at me. And he said again, "Are you ready?" Yes. I didn't know what for, but I said yes. With that yes, suddenly we floated through the ceiling like it was nothing, because I guess we were not in matter at that point. And we started floating up and up and up and up. We started floating through clouds. I could see the camp below. I was like, "Oh, that's the trail I walked earlier," but we kept going up till I couldn't recognize things anymore. I remember going, like the feeling of coming through the atmosphere and into space, and I could still breathe. I knew it was cold, but it wasn't bothering me like I was Elsa or something. Again, it had to do with me not having a physical body. And I was staring at Earth from space, and it happened so fast, and it was so beautiful, but it was not over. Jesus then had me turn around. So he was the one that actually physically moved me around. And I looked behind us, and I kind of went, because heaven was there. It was like 50 feet away. It was sitting on a cloud base, and I knew it was heaven because of the way it shone. It had a wall, and a little to the, like a brick wall sort of, and to the right there was the pearly gates, and I thought we were going in there, but we didn't. Jesus actually pulled me to the left, or at least my version of the left. So we keep following this wall. I don't know where we're going. I'm just following Jesus. And then the wall gets shorter and shorter and shorter until there is no wall. And Jesus takes me and we just float into heaven. Gravity takes hold. And I remember looking at my feet and seeing I was standing on gigantic golden tiles. I looked up, and the golden tiles were like this gigantic courtyard, easily the size of a ballroom. But that was definitely not the most exciting thing. I was in the throne room. It's still one of my favorite rooms to this day. But I get emotional every time I tell the story, but I'm gonna get through this. At the back of the throne room, I saw God for the first time on his throne. And he was like, the size of him was huge. It was like if I were a toddler, he would have been the size of a huge football player. And he was seated on his throne. Jesus was still next to me, but God leaned over and held out his arms like come to me, with a huge smile. And I ran to him, and I got to him and he picked me up. Again, I'm like the size of a toddler or a baby to him. And I remember he just held my spirit in his arms and just held me and rocked me like I was actually his baby. And that feeling of peace, there is nothing else like it. I haven't found anything like that. I was breathing in liquid peace, and I just stayed like that for the next 10 or 15 minutes until the songs on earth ended, and then I had to go back to my body. But that was the first experience of many. And on my page, I'm going to share them with you. I'm ready to share what I know, what I've seen, and how it's changed me and uplifted me and only brought me closer to God and Jesus. So I hope you enjoyed this story. More are to come.